Hello everyone, welcome to the first vlog lesson brought to you by ESG Percussion. Today I'm going to be talking about one of the most important things to do when you're any kind of musician, whether it be a snare drummer, which I happen to be, a very good one. That's the medium I'm going to be using today to kind of talk to you about how to practice. But I play all types of instruments as well. This applies to any instrument, any genre you might be playing, any kind of level from beginner to expert. How to practice. I did a video previously about this on my YouTube channel when I was teaching the Plymouth High School drumline, and I took kind of the main points from that and I kind of morphed it a little bit into what I'm going to be talking about today. So I have 7 main points about how to improve your practicing habits, how to practice the most efficient way possible to get better quicker. Because one of the things that I tend to find with a lot of my students is they hit a wall where they know something and they know something really, really well. But the problem is they can't move past that, and they sort of hit this ceiling where they're pounding up against it to try to break new ground and try to learn something completely new and go to that whole next level right away. The problem is it doesn't happen right away. As you play music more and more, and as you play the same instrument more and more and get better at it, the better you are as a player and the more things you can do, the harder it is to improve yourself. So this is just a basic approach on how to make sure that every time you sit down and play your instrument, or stand up and play it, or anything you do on your instrument, on your medium, you get better. And it's almost mental sometimes, just how you approach things mentally and how you solve problems while you're practicing. So I might play the pad today, I might not, just to demonstrate a few things. But as you get better, you always want to make sure you just approach the instrument correctly and don't just sort of go through the motions and just kind of play. Because in a gig, sure, you can just go on autopilot and play if you know something really well. But the problem is, every time you sit down and practice, you have to be focused, and you have to sort of, it's not laser focus to where you can just be like, nothing matters but this. And you just kind of look down at yourself the whole time. It's not like that, but it is practicing with a mindset that you are going to get better at something. And I go into some practice sessions where I don't know what I'm going to work on. I don't know if I'm going to just work on really simple things or really difficult things. So basically this is a system to where every time you sit down, you can get better at something. Therefore, you will get better faster overall. Doesn't matter if you work on really small things or you work on something really big, like memorizing a tune, memorization, or something like that. So this is a basic approach on how to approach anything in music. Any kind of exercise or scale or rudiment or part that you may be working on. Rule number 1 is go slow. And I find this a lot with drummers, both marching and drum set. Once they're shown something, they tend to want to go really fast with it. Take, for instance, a rudiment. When you teach a kid a paradiddle, they immediately want to sort of be able to go. The problem is it doesn't really work that way. When you first show them the paradiddle, it's paradiddle, paradiddle, it's really slow. And the problem is that I tend to find this with a lot of beginners. They don't go slow enough. And you actually find this, I sometimes find out when I'm trying to sight read through charts on steel pan, that's sort of a challenge that I have, not going slow enough through the tune. I do some repetitions of the tune, believe me, but I don't go slow enough, and you have to break down what you're playing. So, for instance, take a paradiddle. If a kid's playing a paradiddle, and they're just like, they're just kind of hacking through it, and they're just like, I can't get it. Like, they're having trouble with the sticking and everything because they're trying to play straight. But the problem is their mind and their muscles they haven't adapted to playing that yet. It's something completely new, but they're trying to get it right away. What happens is no one gets it right away. But if you don't take steps necessary as far as speed to have your muscles adapt to it, it's not going to become... Once you're shown something like twice, you're not going to immediately be able to go, oh yeah, I know what that is. You know? So basically, that's the main point. Go slow. Go slower than you think you need to on anything. On rudiments, on scales, on any kind of part. It'll help just your overall approach to the instrument. So yeah, it's really mundane going paradiddle, paradiddle. Especially for experts, people that know what a paradiddle is, even around the kid or anything. It's really mundane to sit behind a pad and go. But it's required, really, to gain mastery of technique and mastery of approach. Make sure that everything is working the way it should and the way it needs to. Alright, cool. So that's rule number 1. Go slow. Go slower than you think you need to. Rule number 2 is record yourself. And this is mainly for individual, like, nitpicking for more advanced players. Beginners, I wouldn't say record themselves. I would say the equivalent to this would probably be like play with other people as much as you can. Try to get your students playing with playing with a recording so that they can work on their individual tempo and, you know, their sound quality. Because what happens is, you know, recording yourself, it allows you to self-evaluate. And this is something more along the high school, college line, where you'll have a kid, like I said, just using the medium of marching snare drum, who can play, let's say, a flam 5. And they're in late high school, junior or senior, and they're playing snare, and they've been playing snare for 2 years, and they think they know everything. And they're like, oh yeah, I can play some flam drags, and they play it, and instead of how the rudiment should be played, they play it somewhat, I guess, maybe like this, maybe? Oh, sorry. Like, they kind of just, like, hack through the rudiment, and they can play it, but they can't play it with excellent 5-star sound quality yet, you know, like they can't play with that refined sense of, they know what everything has to do with technically and whatever. So I would say, record yourself, and, record yourself playing some, flam accents, and then play some flam 5s, and listen to, like, the evenness of the notes. Can you tell if you're using, like, enough arm support or something like that? You can almost use it as teacher-guided self-evaluation, to where you record yourself, but you're also allowing other people to kind of evaluate you, and just by even the audio. And you can do this, visually, too. You can visually record yourself audibly. Just, are you getting the best sound quality out of your instrument that you can? Are you, like, for wind instruments, are you using the right amount of attack? Are you supposed to, when you're doing, like, a specific run, are you, tonguing it enough, or are you just kind of slurring through it? Those kinds of things. And it's almost like an individual nitpicking, just recording yourself playing solo. It's a nerve-wracking thing. Playing solo in public is a nerve-wracking thing. So, play solo more in front of people, and record yourself playing solo. Just so you can self-evaluate. And it helps you really just, it helps their sound quality and your approach, really. Number 3, again, goes back to the point I was making earlier, but either practice in a mirror, which is very helpful for drummers, for technique, and also any kind of percussion that you use your hands or whatever. So you can visually just sort of correct yourself on how to, if you're playing like hand drums, are you slapping, are you slapping visually the right way? Does it look like you know what you're doing? And, videotape yourself. Look at the way you stand, the way you sit. Like if you're a wind player and you're recording yourself, are you hunched over, or should you be, sitting up a little bit more? That is something that is very, very important. How you look is almost 90% of the battle, especially if you are competitive, like the activity that I came from, which is the marching band indoor percussion activity, the drum corps activity, where you're going to be evaluated on how you look as well as how you play. So that has to do with it a lot. Just practice in the mirror, just so you can visually see yourself like a teacher would see you. That is number one, how you can visually correct yourself, how you look. Number 4 is just more repetitions. Just do more repetitions than you think you have to. And you know what? If you're playing a C major scale and you know you can play a C major scale, you don't have to do 1,000 reps on it. But maybe the F sharp major scale, maybe you're working on that and you don't know, you have to kind of step back and do it slower. Chances are if you have to do it slower, do it more. Do it just more times than you have to. So like, I'm going to play each major scale 10 times, but when I get to F sharp major, I'm going to do it 13 times or 12 times or something like that. What that does is it increases your muscle memory, especially for anything percussion. Muscle memory is a huge part of it, to where when you play it right, it feels right. It feels the way it should feel. And to make sure you can do something 9 or 10 times out of 10. Because if you do it 10 times out of 10, chances are on a gig, you'll do it. On a performance, you'll do it. And that's something that repetitions are just gold. Because I don't practice 24/7, but I practice enough to where I know that I'm comfortable and I know that I got better. So it increases muscle memory. Number 5 is a little bit of a kind of an optional one, I guess. This is more, again, for higher level practicing, but also for middle schoolers especially. And even beginners, really, and beginning elementary students, analysis of what you're playing. If you're playing like a tune, try to understand it theory-wise. The more you understand and can synthesize what the patterns are in the music and what you're conveying in the music, maybe like, the theme or the mood or something like that, if you have the melody or something, the more you understand that, and when it comes to a large ensemble, if you understand your role in that ensemble, it is 10 times easier to play the part better. So analysis is not a huge part, but it is something like if you're playing something very complicated, like a really advanced snare solo, if you can look at the music, understand rhythmically what's going on, you're like, oh, it's a hemiola or something like that, or if you find patterns like that, you'll just understand how to play the music better because you're thinking about it in different ways. You're thinking about it as a mathematical sort of layout on a page instead of just, you just play it. A lot of the times, kids, they can play what they're playing and it sounds pretty good, but like they don't truly understand what their role is. This is a huge thing for, like I said, more larger ensembles. If you're in a concert band, yeah, you can play your part, but like what is your part in relation to all the other parts in the ensemble? What degree of importance is it at any point in the music? That's something to really, really look for. And like if you're a nerd like me, you can kind of analyze the theory to it, see what you're doing harmonic wise and everything, and all that good stuff. 6 is play to a metronome, which it's important to play to a metronome, but it's also important to play with other people so that your pocket can be better. So expand your tempo control to the extreme slows and the extreme fasts. And this goes with anything that you're playing, whether it be a solo or whether it be scales or anything like that, long tones. Play them extreme ends of the spectrum, fast and slow. Tempo is key, but, metronome work, the metronome is not wrong, Metronome is always going to be right. And, okay, the last one, number 7. This is sort of the new one that I added in here. But it's practice with a goal in mind. And this is sort of encompassing the whole thing. That's what I've been talking about the whole time. Is every time you sit down and play on a pad or play your vibes or play your trumpet or sing, you have to practice with a goal in mind. And your goal might be, all right, let me just improvise for a minute, see what I come up with. And I don't proactively think about that. I don't sit down every time and go, okay, so what should I get better on today? It's choose something to practice, but then sort of synthesize what you can improve with how you play it. If I'm playing paradiddles, one thing I've always said from the beginning of me playing traditional is keeping the left hand down. I know that that's a problem for me when I play fast paradiddles, is the left hand tends to float up, where my right hand is pretty good with keeping low and stuff like that when they're playing the doubles. So it's like practice with a goal in mind. Don't just hack through something. And that's, like I said, that sort of encompasses this whole video of that's what you should be practicing, is practicing proactively. Don't just passively just kind of go through the motions, be like, all right, cool, I know the notes. The goal is to understand better what you're doing and understand how you're doing it. It's okay to say, hey, I'm doing that A+. Or, hey, that's an F job right there, or a D- job, or whatever it is. It's okay to say, well, I just kind of suck at that. But it's like every time you practice, you suck at it, so just work through it a little bit slower, play with a metronome, record it, just do things to individually and, just by yourself get better. And, for younger students, it's like they can all apply these with a little bit of guidance from their teacher. Like practicing with a goal in mind, that's why they have those little practice sheets in elementary schools. And after every rehearsal, I say, okay, you know what? Before next rehearsal, I want this up to here memorized, or measure 25. I want beginning up to there memorized. And as long as you give them a bullet point to do that, that's improving other things, because they were able to sit down with a goal and accomplish that goal on their own. And that's something that's very important, because when they get into, just playing music on their own time, it's like they will get better faster, anything they do, because they're always practicing with a goal in mind of like, hey, I set goals for myself all the time. And sometimes I overshoot, sometimes I undershoot. I had a goal in mind to transcribe something a couple days ago. Well, it took me like half an hour. I was expecting it to take me a couple hours. It only took me half an hour. It was very much easier than I thought. There was only a couple points where I was kind of confused on what was going on. But that's something like I undershot my ability level, which is fine. But then you learn from that. You go, okay, well, next time I can really do more. Follow those 7 points, and you will always, always practice effectively and get better at something, whether it be very, very small, or you accomplish a big goal like memorizing an entire piece. So yeah, guys, I hope you enjoyed that video, that vlog. There's going to be more about this, just me talking about things. There's going to be some of me, playing snare and playing pan and all that, and just talking about how to really approach and how to make yourself better. So this is kind of a video to start off everything that I'm going to be talking about in other videos, as far as how to approach something, how to get better at things. So thank you for watching this video. It's a long video. I know it's like 20 minutes. But, I mean, it's really important. So, if you're a teacher, a musician, you're a performer, just take those 7 points and sort of, you can utilize some of them in your daily practicing. So, yeah, thank you for watching, and I hope you stay tuned for more of what I got going on. It's going to be a good time. So, I will see you in the next video. Thank you for watching, and have a good day.